Accept your death.
So every once in a while, on my YouTube feed, I'm just like, something will pop up. And I don't really, like, it's just one of those really weird videos that, like, A, why is this being, like, pushed to me? And B, is this actually what it says it is? And yesterday, I had a 20-minute video that was suggested to me about the perfect hot dog.
The perfect hot dog.
The perfect hot dog. And I'm like, there's no way you can make a 20-minute video about the perfect hot dog. And they did. And I actually learned a lot. I didn't expect to learn that much. There's different casings, you know? And this is probably just like my lack of knowledge of just meat stuff in general, right? But like an actual like sausage casing as opposed to like a cellulose like fake casing that won't give you that snap.
Right, a nice beef dog versus, you know, the pork / chicken / whatever.
Yeah, I learned that too.
You know, scraps.
The scraps. So yeah, and that's I don't know. I don't feel like, you know, like ripped off or anything from spending 20 minutes watching that video. I learned a lot, but I was very skeptical going into it. It made me think about...
I would say one of my favorite genre of YouTube videos is cooking videos. I started baking and cooking a lot more, but I never used to bake, and it was like a COVID hobby that I picked up. And I went down the YouTube rabbit hole with all of that, and there's so much good information out there.
Yeah, anyone can be like a culinary chef nowadays, just throw on YouTube, right? I remember everyone like getting into making sourdough when the pandemic hit, and people just continued that on. They just continued making their sourdough. That's one thing that stepped, at least in my area. So I don't know if...
Oh, sourdough's so good.
It's one of my favorite breads for sure.
It's a superior bread type, that's for sure, yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm going to make a bread tier list one of these days. I think that would do well. And
I think it would, yes, with your demographic especially. The tier list we've all been waiting for. I can't believe that Dink put rye on S tier. Get that trash out of here.
It depends on the rye, you know. But that aside, let's break some bread over last week's comments, shall we? That
was a good one.
I want to acknowledge that I don't have like any particular comment from last week because every single one of y'all had something to say about Buff and Quan Chi, so I just thought I could just address all of them in general, you know? I agree. He needs some sort of a buff. I've been on the record multiple times saying I don't know what. I was thinking a little bit more. Some people were talking about the continuous armor kind of thing, blah, blah, blah. And I don't know, I just feel like one thing that he definitely could use is his push-away portal to be like a true, like, air to the floor kind of a thing. None of this Sub-Zero sliding underneath it.
Right, or Tanya can go underneath it sometimes. Nitara can go above it.
Yeah, I think if you made that like a more of a wall and maybe last a little bit longer than it does, I think that would be, especially since you can technically just wave dash right through it. I mean, there's risks to that, but I mean, if you're going to keep that, at least make it a wall. You know, that's my thought for this week. You know, I don't know. So
you heard it here first, everybody. Quan Chi needs a 7-frame standing one, a 7-frame down one, 1,000 health. Straight from Dink himself.
I'm so sick of hearing those. Let me tell you, all the time. He's his owner. He's supposed to be slow. Anyways, because
I hate... Oh, yeah, sorry. I'm not going to derail. I'm just going to say I could not live with those buttons, personally.
No,
I feel for y'all, but I still don't really like the matchup.
You get used to the buttons. His down 4 with that disjointed hurt box is so good. Just so good. You just have to... It can be kind of annoying to encroach on him because if he could just throw that out and goes underneath a lot of advancing stuff.
Yeah, and it catches me backdashing all the time, you know?
That's
trying
true.
to backdash a +1 or something. I get caught out of that all the time.
Yeah, it's really good. It's his best poke, in my opinion, even though it's his slowest. It's his best one. So because we didn't have too many comments to go over last week, I wanted to go over a comment that was left on a video early this week by friend of the Bonehawks, Gorgie. The
Yay, Gorgie.
The GOAT Dark Dink has returned. So, I did a Dark Dink video for the first time, I think, in MK1's. He's appeared here and there. He's made like cameos. Haha, see what I did there? Every once in a while. But I haven't made like a fully dedicated Dark Dink video. And we were kind of talking before the podcast, and I thought I'd kind of, give a little bit of context there, because if you're like newer to the channel in like the last year, it could probably seems like it's out of, like left field or something. Like, what the heck is this? Why is he talking like that?
Yeah.
So this is actually a character I came up with during the MKX days, and like people have always labeled me as like kind of wholesome content creator, I guess, which I guess is a thing. So I kind of felt like that was like a yin to my yang, because like people that know me know that I'm not always like, I can be mean if you're mean to me, I'm not always.
It's your Slim Shady to your Marshall Mathers.
Yeah, not quite that extreme, I think, but I get the reference that you're saying.
Your alter ego,
Yeah, he's kind of how I vent things, and it came up. I remember the very first one I did, throwing the hat, was 100% just like in that particular moment, and I didn't realize how big that was going to be. It was just felt like the right thing to do. Like in my mind, I picture it as like, it's the end of the graduation, it's the end of the video. I throw my hat in the air, and then it just became a thing. And like one thing that I didn't think that I would ever like, quote unquote, like perfect was the sound of it hitting the floor. Because so many people commented that like the funniest part of that is that little click as it hits the floor. So I kind of came up with ways to throw it so that like it had a good chance of the brim hitting the floor first. That would make like more of an impact, if that makes sense.
And every single time you do that, you have to get up off your ass, go walk across the room, pick up your hat, put it back on, come sit back down and start recording again.
I've thought about that so many times.
You need like one of those nets or something that catches like tennis balls or baseballs or whatever, and then we can edit in on a good brim click.
I need to come up with like, get one of those what are those like ball things at the batting cages or whatever that like launch the balls, and just throw my hat into that. That just shoots it back at me.
Like one of those t-shirt cannons or something that just shoots DC hats at.
Yeah, so he's basically, like I said, yin to my yang. It's trying to be the stereotypical douchey gamer guy who thinks he's the best, but he's really not at all. But you can't convince him otherwise, and he'll make up all sorts of excuses for why what you think is not the case. And I have a lot of fun with that character, because it is very much a parody of a lot of people I've run into over the years who totally think like that. And he talks in a voice that's not his natural voice, so it's and then so many people over the years have just been like, "Oh, you're trying not to wake up your mom." And it's, "Oh, I'm trying not to wake up your mom."
Trying not to wake up your mom. It's like when MF Slayer streams, right? Hey guys.
Yeah.
I don't want to wake up the person in the next room, but that was super hype. Wow. Yeah. No. But I think this is important in Dark Dink context, right? If you're not familiar with Nobody Blocks It, and you're not familiar with Blue Beetles won at least 10 games and stuff, then you probably don't know, right? But if you do know those couple things, then this might be a little redundant.
No, I agree. There's been community memes over the years of Dark Dink, and I would say Injustice 2 is probably peak Dark Dink. I would say that, like,
right,
that's when like there was the most hate comments, and that's what I used them for the most. It was super duper easy to just every week, go through, find some hate comments. All right, let's roast these 7 people for 20 minutes or whatever.
Or Dark Dink playing Dark Side in ranked, right? Just the nobody blocks it, the overhead into the low projectile over and over again.
And every time it hits, nobody blocks it. Nobody blocks it.
Right.
And it's
which is most times.
Which is the most hilarious thing about that is the most unoptimal way to play. Like, if he hits that overhead, that's a full combo punish. But instead, he's just going into this low laser. Just like nobody blocks it over and over again.
It's like the Dunning-Kruger sort of thing. Dark Dink is a guy that thinks he's the smartest one in the room, but he's really quite a bit dumber than everybody in the room. Like, even if there's children in the room, right? He's a little,
Yeah,
he has
he's
some perspective issues, right? And he's very confident in himself.
not very self-aware. Is kind of how I like to describe him. He's a very unself-aware individual. So that's, and then
But he's pretty funny.
I like to think he is. Sometimes
And he works for NRS.
He works for NRS, and I thought that he was kind of like the perfect catalyst to like go over that topic, because I kind of danced around it a little bit over, the next little while and didn't really want to say anything about it. But, I kind of wanted to talk about the context of that whole leaking situation and that kind of thing. And when they came out and said that it wasn't an actual, this person was set up or whatever. And at the same time, the person on the internet was like, well, actually, this went a lot farther than I thought it would, even though previous leaks went way farther because way more people were paying attention in the past. This one's a little bit, not quite as impactful now that everyone's left to move on to other things. Not everyone, but a lot of people.
I don't know. I feel like it was a total buzzkill. Like, it's been hard. Like, feeling fun about the game or whatever, feeling excited about the game. Like the last couple of weeks since all of that, just kind of like, just all right.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the truth is somewhere kind of in the middle, kind of a thing. And even then, I'm personally, huffing that copium big time. I don't know, I'm really enjoying the game. I don't want it to end, but at the same time, at what point do you just cut it and be like, all right, this one just didn't work. Let's move on to the next one, and try something again, or Injustice 3 or something like that, So
it's such a weird context, right? They just had that whole call with the CEO talking about it was going to be one of the major IPs that we're going to focus on, but does that mean that, like, okay, well, the next one, not this one right now. Let's wrap it up, boys. Chop chop.
Yeah.
Is that what happened?
I don't know. I don't think we'll ever know for sure. We can only speculate, right? But that would make some sense. I don't know. I don't know what to expect. NRS is like, and I've said before that, like, I know most of the people who have worked there for quite some time, and I know that they're really passionate about their game and the franchise and stuff. I know that there's like corporate overlords and all that kind of stuff. So for their sake, it sucks to see, launches like this happen and feedback like that happens and all that kind of stuff. So, because I know that they care about the game, I really do, and I know that they were all super hype about Ghostface and showing them off, making sure they did them right and all that kind of stuff. So, I don't know. We got to remember we still have 2 characters left, unless they cancel them. Which
no, I
don't think they would do that.
Yeah, like, this is part of the overly expensive DLC anyway, right? It includes all that stuff. So
that would be, well, in the NRS era, they've never canceled a DLC before. There's been DLC changes. You remember, like, the whole Ash Williams thing? I think that was MK11. Yeah. So there's been DLC changes, but nothing's ever been canceled. So if they do cancel the characters, it'd be that would be a first.
Getting canceled. Yeah.
So in that aspect, we still have 2 more characters, and they haven't launched release dates yet. So that's 2 more probably balance updates or changes or something of some sort. So I don't know. I still think there's some stuff to look forward to, but how far in the future that puts the game, I don't really know. We'll have to wait and see kind of what happens. Earlier this week...
Yeah, the game's in a fun spot, right? I'm having way more fun with the game right now than I was at launch. And not just quality of life stuff, just the way the game works.
Yeah, just like there's not too many bugs or anything like that, and like Invasions was fun. I'm not quite through it yet. I'm doing all like the Scorpion Nethergate stuff at this moment, but the balance wise, it feels totally fine. There's some characters that are stronger than others, but it's not like, Peacemaker on launch or anything like that, right? It feels pretty fair and balanced. I can play most of my teams and have a good time and not get too steamrolled unless I play like garbage or something, I also don't play Nitara though, so there's that. Damn Nitara players.
You should.
What's funny is actually in practice mode last night. I was just trying to see if I could remember how incompatible she is with Shujinko. And I was just trying some things, and I was seeing some things, and I was like, yeah, her combo pathing is weird. It doesn't really allow for a lot of Shujinko stuff, because she's in the air, and then she comes down for a minute, and jumps back up in the air. I don't know. Maybe you could find something more creative than I could find, but I couldn't really find anything other than starting with like 1-2-1-2 cancel into whatever Shujinko launcher, and then 2-4-2, which didn't seem very fun.
The thing about Nitara, like, I feel like you probably get more conversions off of dive kicks than anything else. So it would be important for it to be in that combo path. I don't know how to take advantage of it. Even with his kind of like special cancels with a lot of characters, you kind of have to respect the Shujinko follow-ups. You try to take your turn too early and you end up getting a pet punched in the face or something.
Right.
But she doesn't have a lot of cancel advantage in her string. So I bet you can poke out of probably a lot of that. I haven't even looked at it, but that's just what I'd anticipate.
Yeah.
Just off the cuff.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I trust you and your knowledge of the character. So I didn't spend much time
trust
with
me.
it.
Somewhere out there's a Nitara Shujinko main just screaming into the YouTube screen.
Listen to this right now, pulling their hair out. You forgot about the blah blah blah.
Right.
I've definitely been there. It's the passion. It's a passion, and I respect it. I respect it. So earlier this week, they kind of hotfixed Ghostface because of the infinite that was done in the assassin variation, and from what I can see online, people aren't happy about that.
Nope.
To the point where I don't think they're saying it ruined the character, but it definitely ruined assassin, because they removed the cancel from the knife completely, which was like, seems like a panic band-aid kind of a thing. So,
well, they said as much, right? Like they did that to remove the infinite so they could figure out the bigger problem that was causing it. And I'm sure that if it was just a surface issue, something that they already knew about, they would rather be doing that. But it just needed more time. I don't know why they chose that specific day. Like, we've been living with it for weeks, right? And we have two other characters that we know of that have infinites, and we still have Sector giving people unblockable fatal blows setups and stuff. So
man.
I don't know why that in particular got singled out, but hopefully you don't forget about it. Maybe they have every intention of bringing it back, but they just won't have the opportunity to. Just like they didn't even tweet about it till like 16 hours after everyone was already talking about how they had made the adjustment in the first place.
Right.
Right, and that was like on the finals, Rips Arena's top 8 and stuff like that. And one of the guys in there has been playing Ghostface the whole time, hasn't lost a set, hasn't lost a match or whatever. I think he went 0-2.
Feels bad, man.
I don't know that for sure, but I know that it wasn't. I was kind of catching the highlights on the tweeters.
Right. Yeah, it's I mean, as good as the game is, we were just, kind of gushing about it. There are still a couple things, like Garrus has an infinite, but I've been told by everyone that it's not really a viable infinite that you would ever really hit in a match. So, like, that I'm not too concerned about. I don't know what's going on with Shang Tsung's Cyrax infinite. I haven't seen anyone talk about that lately. I just saw it like the day it came out, and I tried to do it, but I couldn't figure it out myself. But it seems that like all of these things have the same kind of property of disabling blocking, So there's some sort of system error underlying all of this stuff that's allowing for that, I think. In my sleuthy ways is kind of how I think about it. Because, like, yeah, the Sector Fatal Blow, same idea. It's a missile that causes, disables your blocking for a second.
Yeah, you can see that in the inputs, right? You hold block and then you see it like hit twice.
Yeah.
Because it like releases it for you for like a frame or whatever, and then it gets hit again.
Yeah, it's kind of dumb. So hopefully they can figure that out and we can get it better sooner rather than later. But with a hot fix to Ghostface like just last week, I don't think I can really expect much in the near future. ? I don't know. I think that's all.
Yeah, I don't really know either, but I know I don't feel like you can trust the people at large, and I don't mean any offense to people out there playing the character, but like, remember when they took like 2 of the 6+ frames away from Johnny Cage, and man, he's dead. Character's unviable,
Right.
right? That's just how people react to any adverse change, and I get it. But I could see by the way people are talking about it, they weren't even considering that they were going to, or they're planning on fixing it eventually, right? It's just been like, oh, lazy NRS just nerfs it by doing this, and and it's like they said it was temporary, and I agree that it's just they kind of have a history of over nerfing things and then kind of forgetting about them till later. Sometimes they come back to it, sometimes they don't, right? Captain Cold's always the example I think of in Injustice 2, and they remembered him eventually, and he ended that game like his current state. He's a really good character, right? But
Yeah.
he was like bottom one for a long time after that first nerf hammer.
Yeah, and then Sonic Fox and Samij happened, and after they
No,
gave
that's
him some
what that
changes.
happened, and then the nerf. Yeah.
Right.
The nerf right after that.
So
That's a fun match to watch. Right, Samish can't do anything. He just looks so helpless, and we all know that he's a really, really good player, right? And he's playing Catwoman, but like, what can he even do
What can
against
you
what's
do?
happening to him?
What are you gonna jump over it? Freaking Captain Cold is one of the craziest down twos in that game. He'll snipe you right out of the air.
Right.
Even with your stupid Catwoman jump too. That move caused me so much it infuriated me, is what I was trying to say there. I hated that stupid jump too. Especially as a freaking Firestorm main, when I'm trying to put out my molten traps and you're reading me and you jump and punish me from like pretty much full screen.
Yep.
God. Injustice 2.
Yep.
So,
that game is like, so it's like remembering a past relationship where all you remember is the nice things, right? But the second I sit down with it, it all comes like flooding back. It's like, oh yeah, this. Oh yeah, this. But overall, like, I'm okay with the rose tinted glasses. I have a lot of memories, right? I really cut my teeth on that game. It's the first time I started to take these sorts of games like seriously.
Yeah.
And stuff.
Injustice 2. Huh. That was the best I've done in a back-to-block game, I think. Best I've ever done. Mind you, I had pretty much 0 successes in Street Fighter. I did win a match on stream at NEC last year, though.
You did the jury mirror match.
Yeah, the mirror match. They were salty, which I would have been salty too. Even the commentators were like, "I don't really know what's going on here." Come watch it back afterwards. And it was super bad. But I mean, I don't know. I was enjoying myself, mashing away. Wasn't really that nervous. I don't know. Good times.
Yeah, you look comfortable.
Yeah, I've played on stream enough times. And in Street Fighters, I haven't played that game in a long time. It was like my side game in the moment. So it's like, I don't really care that much. I'm just here to have fun, and I might as well play multiple games while I'm here anyways. So I wish they had more older games. They sometimes do, but usually it's like the anime community's a little bit more, into that than NRS or that kind of a thing. So, and I haven't played a lot of those other side games. So that's why I was curious about Biennale next year, because they have all the NRS games there. I think they're doing every single one of them. So that'd be a lot of fun or at least the Mortal Kombats, I think. I don't know about Injustice, but I know that they pride themselves on being Mortal Kombat focused. So
yeah, I thought I saw a comment saying that they would not be opposed to Injustice as a community tournament, like in the grander sense, right? Not they were just like they are open to community tournaments in general, or something.
Yeah, and I mean, as long as you have the space for it, I think having a community area is a fantastic thing where people can come and bring whatever games they want and do their own kind of registration and all that kind of stuff. I love
hope
it when
it's
they do
huge. I hope that Biennale next year is awesome. I like what they have planned and stuff, and I hope a shitload of people show up for it. I can't because of work stuff, but
yeah, it's just a little bit too much out of my reach. I did look into it because I wanted to see if I could go out and make it a vacation and the same kind of thing. But it's just a little bit too much of a stretch for.
Have you ever been overseas? Have you ever been to Europe?
No, I've never been out of North America.
Dang, Dink. What a great opportunity.
I know. Trust me. I wish I could make it. The furthest east I've been is either Montreal or Atlanta. I'm not sure which one's more east. I guess New York as well. That's over there somewhere. So that's as far as I've gone. Been to Southern California a bunch of times.
Yeah, that's not East at all.
No, it's not.
That's the opposite.
I taught everyone there what a toque was. I remember that. That moments. That's a core memory for me. Just burned into my head.
A toque?
A toque. Do you know what a toque is?
Is that like one of those Canadian things? I don't know what a toque is. Do I want to know?
I'm about to teach a lot of people what a toque is. Yeah, a toque is what Americans call a beanie, or sometimes a stocking cap, depending on how old you are, I guess. That's basically
That's what Americans say?
apparently.
You're a Canadian teaching Americans about a word they'd never heard of?
Yeah, we call it a toque. Don't forget to put your toque on. It's cold outside.
So you guys call it a toque, and it's an American word, but Americans don't use it anymore.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know if it's American. I don't even know the history of the word. I just use I just call it a toque. That's my toque. And I was when I was at the tournament, I had put it on a table or something. It was Wonder Chef that was there, and I was like, "Can you pass me my toque?" And he's like, "What?" I'm like, "My toque. Can you pass me my toque?" What the fuck is that? I'm like, it's a thing that's sitting on the table there. He's like, "Your beanie?" I'm like, "Yeah." What'd you call it?
Yeah, it sounds like a nice word for a bodily function.
Oh, I had a nice smooth toque this morning.
Yeah. Let out a little toque.
I've always thought that about the word bummer. You know, like that's
bummer.
That sounds, like people are like, "Oh, what a bummer," but it totally sounds like, "Hey, on the weekend I gave Karen a bummer," like a real good one. I've always kind of thought that about that word too.
I know, that's what I call it. Like when I'm talking to my friends. Real.
Oh, this got derailed quickly. Okay. So speaking of getting derailed, I almost got apparently so. I got some tomfoolery befound me on the Twitters. And I guess somebody tweeted that there's a Mortal Kombat 2 trailer coming tomorrow. But I just saw it in passing. I didn't give much thought to it. Oh, that's cool. I'm excited for that. And then apparently that was not the case. It was a fake account or something like that. Which then made me sad. Because I
know.
As like cheesy and bad as those Mortal Kombat movies are, I'm actually excited for the second one. And I know that Quan Chi is going to be in there. I'm excited to see how they do Quan Chi. Oh, I don't know.
Listen, I don't think that the NRS people were involved in the first one at all. If anything, I feel like there was a couple backhanded comments made about it. Not like really, but they weren't. You know what? It's all. I thought that the character. I loved the way that Nitara looked in it, even though she was kind of like a jobber and stuff. And it had like some really good aesthetics. But that Arcana or whatever they're calling it, that's not going to fly, right? Like you can't just throw that shit in there because you need that Hollywood element to bring us all together or whatever. But this time around, I remember right before COVID, Ed Boon went down to Australia. I don't know if all the branches were extended or if he's going to get like a side production credit or he's just there to like consult or just to kind of like see what's going on. But he seems, even if he's not directly involved, right, he seems at least more open to the idea. Maybe that's for appearances or something, but... Yeah,
I'm not really sure. I've seen him be a lot more active about the second one, like tweeting about it and quoting things and talking about it and like way more involved. And the first one was kind of like, really kind of hush hush. He didn't really say anything about it. I think he maybe said like,
I don't think they had their blessing. Like that was just kind of like the tone that I think that was kind of like giving off. They didn't do anything to try to like promote it or anything like that. Like they just weren't involved at all. Maybe even a little mad about it. Maybe I'm projecting my own biases to like what's happening here, my own headcanon, but that was the impression I got.
It's quite possible because, being owned by WB might have just been like, yeah, sure, go ahead, make a movie about it, I don't care. And then now they're like, well, this is our franchise. Like, Booney Boy brought this up from the 90s, like, maybe ask me about it, but no, Cole Young. There you go. There you go.
I hoped so much that how Nitara looked in that movie is how she was going to look if she was in the next game.
Yes. And I feel like at this point there's like, well, okay, maybe I get it because Megan Fox is probably expensive, but they could give her like an MK, movie skin, right? But like
with the way better hair and stuff, I feel like hair is like such an important part of like a palette and like what goes into like deciding which one you're going to use. Like when you're Ashra, right? It's like hat, but also like hairstyle and stuff. You're always losing your hat when you're being brutaled or fatally blown and stuff.
Yeah.
And the Order of Darkness has that weird grandma slick back hair that they gave to Smoke for his MK9. He's got weird grandma hair.
Weird grandma hair.
Yeah.
That's funny. Some of those things do look kind of silly. Like Quan Chi basically just gets naked in the one costume. Like his whole robe comes off, basically.
That's right. Yeah, like all of his covering is like Suddenlies and Magic Mike. And everything Justice 2 Raiden. They're gonna start like a little routine.
The thirst characters.
Get tits from those Outworld ladies.
Oh, that's an image I didn't think I would emblazon in my memory today. I'm using a lot of big words today. I'm proud of myself. Trying to do that more.
I'm proud of you too.
Yeah, I was really trying to fish for a word that was bigger than proud, but what can you do?
Yeah. Wow, how you've just fallen so rapidly.
I had to acknowledge it, right? And then as soon as I did, then there it goes. That's gone.
Yep.
Pull back the
curtain. Spoke it out of existence.
Pull back the curtain. There I am. I wonder if we're going to see. I'm really curious to see like Carl Urban as Johnny Cage, because I've only me personally I've only ever seen him in The Boys. I'm not familiar with him outside of that, so that's the only character I've seen him play. And Johnny Cage is going to be quite, at least my Johnny Cage that I know is quite the opposite of that. So I mean,
I challenge you to go find anything literally that Carl Urban's ever done that's bad, and it also being his fault. Right, not everything he says good, but he's always good. He's super solid, and he was Judge Dredd, the rebooted Judge Dredd, and he was in Star Trek, and he's been in all sorts of stuff, and he's always good. And most people know him as Billy Butcher, in The Boys, and he's really good at that. Right, he's so easy to hate, but he still has that kind of charm and stuff.
It's always weird to me when I see like an actor like giving an interview or something like, with an accent or with an accent that they didn't have in the role that I know that they play. Like watching some interviews with Anthony Starr, I'm like, what? You're like Australian or something? That's crazy.
Isn't it crazier when actors do American accents and they don't have like a native accent, right? They're Australian or they're from the UK or anywhere. Their voice always gets so much deeper. Like Hugo Weaving and Guy Pearce and Christian Bale and who were we just talking about?
Archie.
Carl Urban.
Archie in Riverdale. No. He was the same thing. He was
Archie in Riverdale.
He was freaking, I think, New Zealand, and
it's like the tone of the voice darkens and then it like drops an octave. Right, that's how you get whatever they need out of an American accent. It like has a transformation on like I don't know, it just makes them very, Mr. Anderson.
Mr. Anderson. I could never do accents, seriously, that kind of thing. I am a bad impressionist. I have dark ink and that's it.
Same.
That's the only thing. Other than Ludlith, I used to do a good Ludlith every once in a while from Dark Souls 3.
Yeah. Do a Ludlith for me.
I can't. What's the line? I can't remember the line again.
Just say it burns.
It burns.
Yeah, you sound just like him.
The pain.
Or something like that. I don't remember.
I gotta get my Ludlith back. That was I didn't think this would go into voice acting training. Where's
you do Andre? Didn't you do Andre too?
Pretty be careful.
Yeah.
Everyone
go on to see me work squandered. Yeah. Bro, Dark Souls 3 is one of the most amazing games of all time.
I had a lot of fun with that game. I played that game 4 times and I didn't even use a separate class. I used the same class every time. Just because it was so fun to play through it. And like the more that you learn, like I like to play those games as like being like as OP as possible, like just going through and like just leveling up. I'll grind an area for like 3 hours just to gain a level, like I just want to see how badly I can just throw a Chaos Fire Orb at something and just explodes, I don't know.
Yep. I don't know. I think that that was like Dark Souls 3 to me is like what Injustice 2 was, right? Like the first one I really kind of like took seriously. Okay, like instead of just, flopping around or whatever, and just appreciating the lore, the aesthetic or whatever, like how do you actually get good at this stuff?
Yeah.
and something about it. I know it's not the favorite for a lot of like Souls people, but I don't have that broader context or that history and stuff. And I don't know. That one's super cool.
I remember somebody telling me about Bloodborne when Bloodborne first came out, and like I had never played a Souls game before that game, and they're like, "Oh, it's really, really hard. You gotta be careful." I'm like, "It's not hard. That's stupid." Like it's just an adventure game like anything else. How hard can it be? And so I decided to stream it, and I couldn't get past the first area. It was like 3 hours, and I'm trying to get first. Where there's a mob of dudes standing at the fire in the middle of the city or whatever.
Yep.
And I have not raged that hard. I was literally screaming and swearing at my at my console. I think I threw my controller at one point, and then I got hit with the old Atodaso, Yeah, fucking Atodaso. But then
I really like the more competitive side of those games and stuff too. I watch a lot of challenge runners and stuff, a lot of hitless runners or deathless randomizers, like really big right now, just to try to keep things fresh. And that's how the game's like fun, is that you get to start with these weapons that are normally like late game or, or whatever it might be.
Yeah, that's cool.
I like it a lot. It's definitely one of my favorite types of video gaming.
Yeah, the only thing that I've watched as far as like Bloodborne goes was just like speed runs, and like some of these like glitchy speed runs. The amount of times I saw Carl like go through the wolf and restart, and that's just over and over and over again. I don't know why I find that so entertaining, but I do.
Yeah, tree skip into shadows and all that fun stuff, into like ROM RNG hell. Yeah. I love Bloodborne. I mean, they're all so good. The only one I would say, well, Dark Souls 3 is the only like Dark Souls I really have any sort of like sentimental attachment to.
Right.
Demon Souls, I played the remake. That's how like when they first announced that for the PS5. So this is like right after or right before COVID. It was like definitely that era. That's when I was like, oh man, okay, so I need a PS5, and like this is my chance to finally like, it's like when a new fighting game comes out. This is the one I'm going to get good at, right? What a great opportunity, sort of thing. So that's how I started to get into it. And I just started watching those streamers, and it was COVID. So it was like working from home. So I had Twitch up all day watching streamers that were also like, they just got laid off because of COVID or something like that. Right. The whole economy, of like Twitch changed over that whole era because of people being able to stream or just saying, fuck it. Like, I don't have anything else to do. I just lost my job and stuff like that.
Right.
And then finding like success in it. Pretty crazy stuff. So that was all that era. Then I just started playing through all of them. I already had Bloodborne as the free PSN game from a couple years earlier. And then I bought Sekiro on PC, and I started kind of like dabbling with all of them to seeing which one would stick. And Dark Souls 3 is the first one I played all the way through and like beat. And I love that game. It's kind of fucked up. It's like just, dark and barren, and something kind of haunting about some of the characters. And you beat Dancer, who's like so badass, and the statue's like slits its throat as you put the basin on it, right? And the blood drips into the basin to reveal the ladder and stuff. Something about that's kind of unsettling to me, but I quite like it.
Man, Dancer is one of my favorite Souls bosses of all time ever. I just think like
She's
that
cool.
whole experience and the music that's going as you're doing it and the way it changes, and like how she's kind of like moving in octaves and stuff. I don't know. I think it's just super duper fun fight. I could do it over and over again. And I have. And I've died a lot. That's what happens in that game, though. Get good.
I think that is a very good boss fight to kind of like drill and to play and stuff, to like stop mashing your roll button, stop trying to get greedy with damage here. If you can play that very patient with good positioning and stuff like that, even without OP like damage setups and stuff, it's a super fun fight.
Hey, speaking of boss fights, this is actually something I wanted to bring up with you. Have you done the boss fight in like the Scorpion boss fight in Invasions? Have you finished that at all?
Yeah, I did all that the first time around. Stuff too.
I was going through, and I like to go through every node because it's the same kind of idea about how like I want to be overpowered, so I want to get all the things, blah blah blah. And then I got right before the last, like just coming up to it, and there was a survive node, and I was like, all right, well let's try it out. and I just could not beat it. It was all the stupid chains with freaking Scorpion or whatever, and I spent like 2 hours on it, and then I couldn't beat it.
So 2 hours?
Yeah, 2 hours on it.
Maybe how much health does your character have?
Maybe I'm exaggerating a little bit, but I don't remember.
Do you put any of your stat points? Do you ever buff up your health, or do you just stack it all into damage?
I'm attack and special Andy. I don't put anything in health.
Well, that's why.
Yeah.
Right? And then all you need to do is just crouch. The key to that one I found, right, is like you find the little gaps in the chain that are on the ground that you can just kind of like duck. Right, you can kind of crouch usually between cross sections. I feel like there's some deliberate spots they set up for that. And then anything else that clips you, your health just kind of absorbs. But yeah, if you're not boosting up your health, that sort of stuff really sucks.
Yeah, I was trying to like jump and get like in between the chains, like in the air, because I saw there was like some holes in the air, and I just kept timing it wrong and just getting sliced. So anyway, I gave up on that, and I just continued moving forward. And then I got to the Scorpion boss fight, and then on the last health bar is the same survive thing. I'm like, what the hell is this? God damn it!
You need health.
I skipped
Bro,
this.
You go to the training mesa and give Collector there 4,000 of your coins or whatever, and he should have an item to sell you that can reset all your stats, and like give yourself at least 50 or 60 health or something. Especially if you want to be doing the seasonal towers and stuff afterwards.
I just picked a different character, and I already had the points with them, so I just bumped there. I think it was Peacemaker, just bumped up to like max health, and I just went through it or something. At least for that survive node. I managed to beat Scorpion eventually. The survive on the Scorpion fight was a little less difficult than the actual survive node I found. So I ended up getting through it, but man, just like the way I have not shaken my head that hard in a long time when I just saw that final health bar and it disappears and the chains come on the screen. I'm like, I just skipped this. What are you doing?
Right, you've already been traumatized by it.
Yeah, now they're forcing me to do it. Anyways, I meant to rant about that today earlier, and I kind of forgot about it, and then I remembered when we were talking about boss fights. So there you go. We're back to the first season of Invasions again, so I imagine they're probably just going to do like what they did with Kombat League and MK11 and just loop all the seasons again and again.
Dude, are they going to, when it's Melina season, are they going to give us all those Havoc skins again and pretend that that's what the intention was? Like, are they committed to that?
I don't know. Could they
Are they going to relive that all over again?
Could they like, because I'm assuming that, I didn't really pay close attention, but like, were the Melina skins the ones that you think released with Chaos Reigns?
Yeah, they were supposed to be the Chaos Reigns ones. It was like so clear, right? They were trying to say like it was like punk rock David Bowie like sort of stuff. Like that has something to do with Melina. I think
right.
that they were trying to fix that might have been the desync era, right? They were obviously like behind like on a lot of stuff. I just don't think they had the time to put into it with as much other things they had to focus on because the game was not in a very good state. And we got all this weird pink and green and mohawks and makeup and stuff, and like for the Valentine's Day theme. Like, I don't think that's real.
Yeah, I mean, I imagine the thing is, like, if those skins just came out with Chaos Reigns, and then Melina is season 2, like, is a season after this, that's pretty close together to have those skins be released again, I guess. But unless they want to correct and be like, actually, this is what we want to do the whole time, or... I mean, they won't say that.
Well,
no,
because the skins that you unlocked in the story and stuff were different. Like Takeda got his, and Quan Chi got like a version and stuff. Those weren't in the like invasions and stuff before.
Right. See, that's the thing is because I don't play too many characters, I don't pay too much attention to the skins, so I don't really catch those types of things. So, but I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if they mixed them around and gave the ones that were supposed to be in the Melina season, in the true Melina season. Depends how much time and pull they have at this point. You know, with all the things that have been said, who knows what they have time to do now, right?
Yeah, if you wear that Johnny Mohawk skin and you also wear the sunglasses that are shaped by stars, like stars or whatever.
Oh, no, I want to do that.
You're dead to me, right? That is just like the worst. No.
I don't think I've ever seen that skin out in the wild. Not gonna lie. I don't think I've seen anyone wearing. He just has so many other cool skins. Why would you wear that one?
I saw a couple people, those Chaos Reign skins, the ones for Katana and Melina. I saw those a lot like the first week, and I think people got shamed off of them. I heard so many commentators like, Jesus Christ, why does their hair look like that? You're just like, oh no.
And there's going to be those people that wear them as the memes or whatever too, right? Like, yeah, I'm rocking this skin. I think it's super cool. And it's like, yeah, okay. I see what you're doing there. You know, hipster
Yeah.
kind of stuff.
Right.
But who knows? It'll be interesting to see if they... I don't really foresee them switching up the skins as rewards for invasions. I feel like that's probably like a little bit too labor intensive for them. But I don't know. We'll see. I guess just to kind of round out the end here, both you and me you've been playing more than me, but we're trying out that Marvel Rivals game.
Yeah, we both drank the juice and now we're cracked out. We're addicted.
We're cracked out Andes. I can't wait to play again this afternoon. I'm pretty stoked. I've been it's funny because we've both been on here before, like complaining about how we don't play team games because, you know, we're usually the ones that let down the team.
Bad at them. Yeah.
But like, we always get sucked back into like the new shiny thing, being like, it's free, you might as well give it a shot. And it's like, okay, let's
yeah, and
go.
I know I'm bad. Like what I like the most about it, because I really like it makes me very excited about the Marvel universe. It's just like so detached from the cinematic universe and those versions of those characters, and it's got some, you know, nice deeper cut characters and stuff. It's just nice, and it looks nice, like the art design and stuff is nice. There's a lot of fun characters. Who you been playing? You've been playing
good old Loki. Yeah.
Loki.
So I generally tend to go towards like support characters in this game because I find they're pretty easy to get. Like everyone wants to be like, you know, the DPS, doing all the damage, getting all the kills kind of a thing. But I don't like to be up in the action. I like to be behind and, you know, just healing my opponents and just helping them, you know, do their overall thing. I don't need to be in the spotlight for that kind of thing. Similar to like how I play in zoners. I don't like to be up in your face, right up in the action. I like to be across the screen, throwing stuff at you. Same idea, except I'm helping out my team. So that's kind of it's an important.
But you're
position.
also throwing stuff at them, right? These sorts of games, like you kind of like do both, right? It's like a little mixy matchy.
Yeah. So like, it was actually Blue Raz Rush who was telling me a couple days ago that like, yeah, Loki is 100% like a character for you. He can put out like clones of himself, and then he like steals his opponent's ultimate move or whatever. And I was like, well, that's pretty cool. That sounds like I haven't done any of it kind of sounds like Shang Tsung, you know, and like even Loki as a character, like his voice and his mannerisms, it sounds like, how did I describe it? A more regal Quan Chi, like less like cartoony villainy, but more, you know, kind of like, I'm better than you, and I'm, you know, these are the things that I'm doing. Another foe vanquished, you know, like it's just
right.
It's like my aesthetic.
Yeah,
I
Loki's
like
a total badass.
He's cool. I really don't know much about the Marvel universe. I've been like the most basic
Good
pitch
thing
of
for
fans.
you, when you go to the heroes page, each one has a tab that says lore where you can get their backstory.
I wanna see what the backstory is with Squirrel Girl.
Because there's some I had never heard of Cloak and Dagger. That's probably my favorite character right now. That shit is like way too fun. I don't. The only role I don't like is tank. Like, I'd rather
Right.
DPS, but support and stuff's fun if you have like a fun character and like have a good team. Because I'm not good, right? I don't need to be like super carried, but I'm not making like crazy plays and stuff. And I have like some situational awareness issues, like in general, right? So I don't play these competitively or try to do ranked or anything like that.
The amount of times between you and Carl, the amount of times I've been trying to chase you guys down and be like, I'm trying to heal you. Like, get back here. You're just flying away. I'm like, okay, well, whatever then. Can't heal you. I find it to be like a fun balance because I'm mainly focusing on like my teammates' health bars, but like if, you know, I kind of see that everyone's kind of full and then, you know, there's a enemy health bar and then just like shift my focus, do some damage on them for a bit, shift back. And then you have to figure out these angles with Loki about, okay, now I can kind of make like a triangle with him, you know, and like put me in the center and him over here and him over here. And then if someone's attacking me, I can just teleport to a different clone, you know. I don't know. I'm having a lot of fun with it, but I've only played it for like maybe 4 hours yesterday, so that could die out fast. Who knows? Sometimes these games do that for me. I have a lot of fun in the moment, and then I just kind of die off. That's what happened with Overwatch. It was fun for a little while, and then it just wasn't. So, who knows if this game will be any different? But yeah, that's kind of like you were saying, was it yesterday that just with things just not being super excited on the MK front, you start to do some other things, slowly kind of lose your interest in it. And I'm still playing MK. I've played a lot this week and still trying to get to Elder God or whatever through my Twitch streams.
Everyone's playing Marvel Rivals right now. You can't click that. You can't queue for anything and wait for more than like 2 seconds. It's impossible. And if your wait was for longer than 2 seconds, it's because like your PC lagged out or something. I don't know what the cause could be because I don't think it's possible.
No, I agree. And being free to play is such a great business model too. Everyone's going to tune in and at least give it a shot. And then like I've already thought about buying
skins are way too expensive. I would love to get a couple skins or whatever, but I'm not dropping 20 bones for a skin. That's not happening.
I'll have to get some more gameplay in before I make that decision. I don't mind spending a little bit of money on a free-to-play game if I actually get like a decent amount of enjoyability out of it. But I gotta wait to see if I've gotten that out of this game yet, and I'm not quite there yet. So
I think I like enough characters and stuff. I really like Scarlet Witch. I really like Luna Snow. She's the other support that I've been playing between her and Cloak and Dagger, and then a little bit of Penny Parker for tank. I don't like tanking. Tanking is the most stressful out of all of them, in my opinion.
I don't think I've ever played a tank. Not once in my career in whatever these games are called. I don't think I've ever played a tank. Maybe in the future, but not by choice. That's for sure. I feel the same as you. That's too much pressure. I don't want to be like up in there, I'd rather be back behind, away from all the danger, able to run away if I can.
Oh, you got to get up in there. I'm not afraid of danger.
Oh, I'm afraid of danger. Keep that shit away from me. I don't want to be anywhere near the danger. I want to be the Band-Aid to the danger, Like I'm out there putting Band-Aids on your bullet wounds, to quote Taylor Swift for whatever reason. I thought that was necessary. But yeah, that's it for another week. This was a little bit more of a rambly one than usual. There's not much MK stuff to go over, so hope you enjoyed listening to us go off about our adventures in other games, whether it's Dark Souls or Marvel or any of that kind of stuff. A little bit of Injustice, even though it's kind of on topic, but... And, as always, if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, because it really helps me out, and subscribe if you haven't, because I make new videos almost every single day. Hashtag Bonehawks, all that stuff, and we'll see all you Bonehawks in the next video.
Accept your death.